Hey folks, welcome back to another Paul Masters video, and now since I've finished the Gallery Villain arc and Paulo interlude, and I've caught up with the decent amount of story, and also since it's August 22nd right now, and we are very close to approaching anniversary, I thought we'd just kind of look at some of the possibilities, right? What could the anniversary be? Because it would seem that they've been awfully quiet about the anniversary so far, right? And look, we're like a bit over a week out from it, or actually just a week. Yeah, we're a week away. So, what's going on? Why is there like almost no noise? What are they hiding over here? All right. So, anyways, let's just use this video and just sort of talk about some of the, I wouldn't say confirmed, but like just some of the stuff that's been out there, and also some other potential options that we could be getting. All right. So, anyways, to start off, I guess the thing is, like, even though they've been pretty quiet about a lot of these, but they have dropped some hints and stuff here and there, right? So first of all, if you guys watch the run-up to 4 years celebration video, they did mention, right, that wasn't the end of the villain arc. That was not exactly Galar, or that Paulo, Last Evil was not exactly the final finale for the villain arc, and there's gonna be a bit more, right? If you guys saw this, it's obviously Giovanni. If you guys saw the Apollo villain arc, right, at the end, all the villains are communicating with each other to stop Paulo, except for Giovanni, right? Except for Giovanni, he's the only guy, odd man out. He's not there. Obviously, he's cooperated very closely with a lot of these villain leaders, or fought with them, right, throughout these villain arcs, and he's the central figure, as he was in Gen 7 with the Rainbow Rocket thing, right, and Ultra Sun and Moon. So yeah, basically, that's sort of the thing over here, right? That's sort of the thing in terms of what's going on with Mr. Giovanni, and well, I guess that's sort of the question, right? What is the theme, the overall theme of the next celebration, the next anniversary? Because every year there's a bit of a theme, right? And the first year was, the Kanto singing suits. Second year was everyone gets this anniversary outfit thing, right? 3 very popular characters from 3 different regions. And then last year, the big thing was Ash, right? And, they got Red back as well. They also had Cynthia in there. I wouldn't say it's a very cohesive theme, but, their last year's, like, thing was, like, buddy moves, right? And, well, what's going on with this year? So, and year 2, right? That was also sort of like the beginning of the villain arc, right? After that, and yeah, what's the thing for year 4? What's the thing for year 4? And I feel like the obvious answer over here is the end of the villain arc, and after the anniversary, or the second half of the anniversary, we're gonna start a new arc, because that's kind of how it works, right? We ended the first PML arc on year 2's anniversary, right? Second anniversary, a bit before that. And yeah, it seems like they're going with this like 2-year cycle of main story arcs, and it looks like it's time for the end of the villain arc, right? Again, they said final chapter, so that could be a big theme of the 4-year anniversary, which is the finale of the villain arc, and that could have a lot of things to that. But outside of that, right, there has been some things floating around the internet. I can't really validate the authenticity of these, but I think at Pokemon Worlds, right, the World's Championship, they had these like picture booth things. If you guys haven't already seen this, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen this already, but yeah, there's these picture booths where you could take picture with these trainers, and there's like 56 of them or whatever, and then some person took a picture with Palmer, so yeah, Palmer. But here's the thing though, I kind of don't buy the Palmer thing. Not saying this is fake or whatever, right? I just feel like, really, like, Palmer for, like, an anniversary unit? That sounds kind of whack. And no offense against Palmer. I actually like Palmer a lot, right? You know, obviously in terms of, like, Frontier brains, he's probably up there as, you know, one of the more influential Frontier brains, right? That being said, is Palmer really gonna be the, like, an anniversary unit? Because, like, just look back at, like, the full year anniversary characters, right? First year, Singsuit Blue, Singsuit Leaf, right? Second year, anniversary Steven, N, Lily. Third year, Ash, Red, Cynthia. I'm not sold as Palmer being, like, one of those characters. Because if you look at it, right, they just dropped Nimona as a new character, right? And if we're comparing new characters, who's a bigger new character? Like, if you were planning for, like, a anniversary level new character to release on the anniversary, who would you pick, Palmer or Nimona, right? The main rival from the newest game, right? It's champion, whatever, this and that. Or even if you take Nimona aside, right? Rose is a bigger character than Palmer, and he just dropped, right? He's or Eugene even. I actually Eugene and Palmer are arguable, right? I'd say they're, like, kind of around, like, the same tier-ish character, right? But, like, at the end of the day, right? Love him or hate him, and actually I like him quite a bit. At the end of the day, he's a Frontier brain, and he's, like, Barry's dad, which is kind of it, right? He doesn't have much story significance at all. And like, again, in comparison to Nimona, in comparison to Rose, obviously those are huge characters with a lot of story significance, and they didn't get an anniversary treatment, right? I mean, even looking like Lear didn't get an anniversary treatment, right? All that stuff. So why would Palmer be an anniversary unit? I'm not saying that he's not coming. He's definitely going to be coming to the game. He will be playable, but I'm more leaning towards, like, he might be a BP unit, right? You know how, like, every during the anniversary we get, like, a refresh, well, not refresh, but we get, like, the next set of BP units added, and, like, for the 5-star BP units, they've been, you know, battle facility leaders, right? We've had who are the two? Dana? No, we didn't have Dana. We had Evelyn and Nita, right? Evelyn and Nita. I think, could this year's 5-star BP unit be Palmer? And I think that's plausible. I think that is pretty plausible. Although you could also make the argument for, come on, it's Evelyn and Nita. No one really cares about them. And Palmer is obviously a lot more deserving of his own, like, at least Poke Fair banner, right? Because, like, Annabelle, right? Annabelle got a Poke Fair banner for herself. And you could argue, at least I think, right? In terms of whether popularity or status, Annabelle and Palmer are at the very, very, very least on the same level. If not, I do think Annabelle is probably even, like, a tier or a half tier higher than Palmer in terms of significance of characters, right? So I really don't know about Palmer being, like, a main Master Fair anniversary unit, right? But again, I do feel like he's gonna be coming. It could be a 5-star BP character. I feel like that probably would be the more likely possibility. Or there's, like, a new, like, event thing, and you could either get him for free, or he's like I don't even know. He's just something else, right? Like a side thing maybe, right? But yeah, in terms of, like, what we could expect from Palmer, I feel like there's only 2 real options, right? I know, like, he has all these these legendaries, and if you look at them, Regigigas, Heatran, Cresselia, what do those Pokemon look like? Those look like Legendary Arena Pokemon, which is basically what Evelyn and Nita has, right? Legendary Arena Pokemon. not that Landorus is in the Legendary Arena yet, but, you know, he's gonna get there eventually. But yeah, he's mainly gonna be he's mainly associated with like either Regigigas or Rhyperior, I feel, for most of his most of his existence in the franchise. So I feel like it's probably gonna be either one of those. If it's BP, I guess BP wise, you could have either. Regigigas, I feel like is a bit more likely, right? But if he gets Rhyperior, I don't think that's completely out of left field either. So could he get Cresselia? Could he get any of this other stuff? Yeah, I just feel like those two are a bit more likely just because they're newer, right? Not like the Pokemon are new; they're very old Pokemon from what 2006, 5. But no. Like we already have Dragonite in the game. We have Milotic in the game. We have Cresselia in the game, right? We don't have Heatran though, but I feel like Heatran, I don't know, be associated with Palmer that much. Maybe like a Singasu Buck in the future or something. But yeah, that's probably what we're gonna get with Palmer. So, anyways, that aside, Palmer aside, right? Let's get back to the ending of the villain arc, right? So, the ending of the villain arc. Again, the main character here is Giovanni. Obviously, he's in like every villain arc chapter. He's the main he's the main goober over here, right? In terms of screwing around with everything and all that. He is obviously the OG Pokemon villain over here, and would it make sense for him to have a big shining moment during the anniversary? I do think so, right? I mean, Giovanni is obviously a huge character, right? And there's just a lot of things pointing to him being one of the options, right? I mean, if you just look at his like past, right? The first biggest the first big moment in Pokemon Masters, I'd say, like after it launched, was the Mewtwo event in December, right, of 2019. And that was a big moment, and who was there? It was Giovanni with Mewtwo, and that was like the big thing at the moment. So clearly he is of caliber, right, for this big anniversary unit. And it's not just that. It's not just that. It's also the fact that if you do go by like the regions and stuff, right? If you look at like who hasn't been around or which region hasn't had a lot of stuff going on for them, it is actually low-key Kanto, right? It's been a while since Kanto's gotten anything since like the last anniversary, right? If you just check the how do I oh, there we go, let's reset. Yeah, just in terms of what we've been getting since the last anniversary, which was over here, right? So obviously Ash and Thunderbolt Red, yeah, they were there. But then after that, right, we didn't really get any Kanto stuff, right? Like the only Kanto stuff we really got was like the variety guys, like the variety, like the Elite Fours, which, let's be real, they're not like actual units. I mean, they're good, they're solid units, but like they're not like they're not like a real thing, right? So yeah, it's just like it's no new outfits, no significant story stuff, no new, you know, big crazy Pokemon, not even a Pokefair, right? Like that's the only stuff that they've gotten ever since the last anniversary, right? Like Kanto's gotten nothing. Kanto's gotten basically nothing in comparison to, I want to say, every region in the game, right? Like, you know, even this new region got even Legends Arceus got more stuff than Kanto did in this past year. So Giovanni being there makes a lot of sense from just his character, you know, itself, and the fact that, again, we just haven't had Kanto stuff. Like, straight up, like, Kanto is, like, you know, if it weren't for these two, Kanto would be lacking very much behind of all the other regions, right? Due to a lot of factors. Also, you know, since Kanto started the villain arc, right? So there's also that, but also because of that, they haven't been getting a lot of great stuff in a while as well. So Giovanni seems like a pretty big one. In terms of like what Giovanni could get though, right? Well, we already have him with Mewtwo, obviously, Mega Mewtwo Y. There's the classic one with Persian, the free one that they're handing out right now again. And also the Nidoking one, right? The Sing Suit Giovanni with Nidoking. What could this last one be? I don't really know. Because, you know, they've had the Rainbow Rocket stuff already. They've had the classic one. They got a Sing Suit. It's probably like just some like new thing, like just kind of like Aura Cynthia, right? Sing Suit or Sing Suit Thunderbolt Red, right? They're just gonna throw out like the second Sing Suit maybe for him. But yeah, in terms of what that Pokemon could be specifically, I feel like there's a few arguments you could go for. You know, one is the other Mewtwo X, which, as much as I would like a new Mewtwo, because it's been a while since a Mewtwo, I don't know, I feel like it would be slightly lame on Giovanni, but it would also make sense. Or they could just, or in this case, maybe like a shiny Mewtwo, or something like that. And I guess like another option could be something big, like Arceus or something, right? I know, but you know, that's a Legends Arceus character. You can't just give that to someone who has no association with it. Well, here's the thing, Pokemon, they give Pokemon to like everyone, right? Like they gave Liza Celesteela, and like for what? So yeah, but yeah, that's like the big thing. The final, if you guys saw the Paulo villain arc, right? Like the thing with Paulo is, bro just started using Hoopa and hooping out these legendaries like left and right for Team Break members to use, and I guess like the only option to resolve that is just Giovanni coming out with like the legendary of the legendaries, or mythical, whatever, right? And just throw Arceus out there, just sort of just tell him to stop nicely, or he's not gonna do that. He's probably he's probably out there just taking reaping the rewards. Paul's just gonna get everyone fight against each other, and it weakens everyone, and then, you know, Giovanni / Team Rocket, they just come out at the end and just cut the grass, right? Just take everything home. I feel like that's possible. I feel like that's definitely possible. As for like anything else, like I don't really know. I just feel like maybe Mew, or some like shiny Mew, because, you know, Oak already had like regular Mew. I guess potentially that could be something. But other than that, I don't like Nidoking Giovanni, or Nidoking, not Nidoking. Well, yeah, there's already Nidoking. Oh, like Rhydon Giovanni. Like, I don't know. As much as I love Rhydons, you know, I don't think that's really happening. But if you look at like any of the other legendaries, right? Either most of them are already in the game, or they're not, like, I don't think significant enough to really stack up against the Mr. I'm just hooping every legendary out of nowhere. And yeah, so I feel like that's probably a decent possibility. And then the other thing about the villain arc ending is obviously Paulo himself with Hoopa Unbound. Hoopa Unbound, obviously, that's a big part of the story as well. Although you could argue both ways, right? Is it going to be Paulo with it, or is it going to be Lear with it? Because Paulo's the guy who's just using it and hooping around legendary Pokemon for Team Break members. But it's still Lear's Pokemon, right? So like he's probably gonna get Hoopa back eventually, someday maybe, and then we could probably get like Paulo with like Rockruff back again if he ever find. He's gonna find it, man. He's gonna find Rockruff. It's gonna be some, like, you know, big story at the end where he realizes Rockruff means to him and sacrifice all that stuff. So it could be we get another Leer with Hoopa and Bound as like a Stumble unit, and then maybe Paulo Rockruff as like a event obtainable sort of unit, right? So I do feel like that's also a possibility when it pertains to the villain arc. As for any other options for the villain arc, I see some people saying like, oh, Getsus and like White Curum or something. I don't know about that one. I know Getsus is like relatively prominent throughout like the villain arc, right? And the Paulo interlude. He's the guy who, you know, captured him again. But I think Getsus is done. I think Getsus is pretty much done. Dude flopped big time, and Paulo basically overcame the Team Plasma, new Team Plasma stuff. Right, that was kind of like the thing. He was just one of like the obstacles for Paulo to really cross, and you know, just get Hoopa and Bound to start his own organization. But is it possible? Because there are some signs pointing to that. Maybe. I wouldn't put it up like super high though. So there's that, I guess. So that's like the villain arc ending as like the big anniversary celebration theory. And I guess we could also talk about like the new character theory. That one's just mainly prompted by this Palmer thing, right? Could it be like actually just like 3 new characters as Master Fairs for the anniversary? I guess it's possible. I don't think it's very likely, right? I don't feel like it's very, very likely, just because there aren't that many big characters that aren't in the game yet. Like, most of the big characters are already in the game, right? And again, like, if they're trotting out Palmer, like, come on, right? Again, no offense, Palmer, but yeah, if we are gonna look that way, I guess there are a few more big names that aren't really in here. This theory obviously assumes that Palmer is gonna be one of them, but in terms of like any other units, I feel like Volo, that's a big one, right? He's definitely a big one, and Admin and Irida are already in the game, so it's pretty much open season for any of these Legend Arceus characters. Volo's a big one, obviously. Giratina, I didn't finish the entire game, so like I don't. Yeah, Giratina. All right, I was slightly worried, like maybe Arceus. I don't really know. Is he that much associated with Arceus? I don't know. Again, I didn't finish this post game, so. But Volo, obviously, he's a big one. He's a big one. I'd say of all the characters that aren't in the game yet, or like new characters, he's probably the biggest one, and I don't really think there's anyone bigger, right? Outside of that, you could say maybe the 2 pro tags from Legends Arceus. I don't think so at all. I'm not saying they're not big characters, they're big characters, but that's just a bit too much, right? They're big, but they're not as big as something like Red and Ash or Singsu Blue, Singsu Leaf, to have like 2 Legends Arceus pro tags at once for the anniversary, right? You know, so I don't think that's really gonna be it. And outside of that, like some people say, oh, what about Kogita? Come on, man, like she's not as much as people like her. And again, I didn't finish post game, so maybe I'm not informed on this, but I don't think she's as big as like Volo, right? Like if Volo's not coming in there, like I don't think any of the other ones are. I don't think anyone else is bigger than him in the game. And I guess the other one could be Geeta. I have been informed that she is the champion of Scarlet Violet. I've also been informed that people kind of hate her for some reason, but I don't know. Again, I didn't finish the game here either. But yeah, if you're talking about like Scarlet Violet characters, bring another one in there. I do feel like Nemona is the most popular one out there of all the Scarlet Violet characters. I feel like she's the biggest one. But you know, a champion's a champion, right? Champions are obviously a big deal in general, and in Poem Masters too, right? But like like when have we had like in terms of champions, right? It's been what, Aura Cynthia, and I guess things, yeah, Blue, Aura Cynthia, and Annie Steven, official actual champions, right? So we have had like one each year, at least. So I guess it wouldn't be the most surprising thing if Geeta is one of those. Don't ask me what Pokemon she's with. I don't know. I don't plan to look at it. Yes, I do plan on beating the game eventually sometime, when I actually do have the time. But yeah, I mean, for those who know, you already know, right? You don't have to tell me. I guess I'll find out what it is if she actually is one of the anniversary units. But yeah, I guess like it would probably be her, right? Again, the thing, Scarlet Violet Pro Tags, right? Or the 2 professors, or whatever the heck. I feel like that's just too much, right? That's just too much from one place to get us all that, right? I feel like ever since, or like the 2nd anniversary, they just started like diversifying a bit. Even though, you know, Thunderbolt, like Red and Ash are both from Kanto, they're from like different, they're across different like IPs even, right? They're not even in the same, they're not living in the same world, right? They're multiverses apart. So yeah, if you were to like throw one in there, I guess her, or that League of Legends player, what's her name, Galdian? I don't remember. But you know what I'm referring to. But again, on the other hand, I just don't feel like any of these Scarlet Violet characters are as big as like Nimona, right? Even that guy with the sick dog Pokemon. Yeah, that's my extent of knowledge of Scarlet. I can't really provide too much stuff here, honestly. And then I guess the last option is just alts of existing characters that don't really connect to like the overarching villain arc thing, right? So it could just be something like a 2nd anniversary, or even third year anniversary, right? Nothing much to do with any stories or you know, whatever. It's just 3 representatives from like 3 different regions, right? If we're talking about like 2nd anniversary, right? Again, that's always a bit of a possibility, and I guess by looking at that, we just kind of have to just see in terms of like which regions haven't had too much of a representation, right, in a while. So if we look at the latest ones, clearly I very much do not expect any Galar characters being part of the anniversary. I'd be very, very, very surprised if there were any. Like just like last year, right? Last year we got Hoenn Villain Arc right before the anniversary, and did we get any Hoenn characters for the anniversary? No, not at all, right? And I'd say same applies over here for Galar. We just got the Galar Villain Arc. That's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 characters straight up over here. And on top of that, the 3.5 year anniversary was Galar as well, right? With the 3, you know, Neo champions and Bede, Hop, and Marnie. So I'd be incredibly surprised if it was anything to do with Galar. I'd say of all the regions, Galar probably ranks the lowest in terms of likelihood of being it. The one that ranks the highest, I still think, is Kanto, right? Because we just straight up haven't gotten Kanto stuff ever since the 30th year anniversary, right? We got Ash, we got Thunderbolt Red, and then it's just nothing except for like those 4 variety scouts, which again aren't like real units. So so yeah, Kanto definitely feels like the biggest possibility, and that's why again the Giovanni thing just makes so much sense, right? It's, you got the Villain Arc thing, you got Kanto hasn't gotten anything in a while thing, right? And yeah, it's just, yeah. But if it's like, so in a world where like, okay, they don't do Giovanni for some reason, right? Which sounds insane, but okay, if it's not Giovanni, who could it be from Kanto? I don't think they're gonna do Red again 2 years in a row, right? So in terms of possibilities, I feel like there are 2 other ones, and it's just gonna be, it's gonna be repeats of anniversary units. But it would make the most sense outside of Giovanni, which is Leaf and Blue, obviously. Blue has more tie-ins to the villain arc, right? Because he is, you know, he has that sort of like mentorship-ish thing with Apollo, right? So he could be a possibility over there. Or the other option could be Leaf, if we're going with no tie-in to the villain arc. The villain arc ending is going to be its own thing, right? But I just feel like it's very, very, very obvious. They literally say it's like the, you know, early or late August, like literally late August, man. That's it's gonna be very hard to, you know, be more on the nose than that. But I guess Leaf, just because like Leaf being one of the 3, you know, original Kanto Singsu trios, she has had absolutely nothing since then. Absolutely nothing. Red got 2 alts, right? You got regular Red, and you got Thunderbolt Red after that. With Blue, you got Classic Blue after that. You got the Vent Blue, the BP Blue, and with Leaf, you got absolutely nothing ever since the first year anniversary. That was in what, 2020? Ever since 2020, it's been 3 years, right? Nothing. It's like Rosa, right? So I think like maybe that's a bit of a possibility. As for in terms of like the other regions that haven't had too much stuff going on for them since last year, I mean, I guess it's a bit hard to say since last year just because it's just such a big gap. I'd say maybe probably a bit easier to narrow it down if we just go from since the 3.5 year anniversary, right? So since 3.5 year anniversary, again, the gallery characters, right? After that, we got the SC event, Zinnia Steven, that's 2, Hoenn, Kalos did have a lot, right? They did have a villain arc this year as well. That was right before the 3.5 year anniversary, but still, right? What else? There's Lyra over there once. Then we have the Alola villain arc. Although we did have the Alola villain arc, I don't feel like Alola has gotten that much though, right? They got their villain arc. They got like their 3 units for the villain, or 4 units for the villain arc. But they haven't been getting a lot outside of that. I guess the variety stuff, but again, not real. So yeah, what did they get in between 3 year and that, right? Sites here that don't really count either. Yeah, I do feel like Alola hasn't gotten too much. It's been a while since we had a Lily. No, I don't really feel like they're gonna do a Lily alt though for anniversary, even though she's like by far the most popular Alola character. I don't know. I just don't feel it, because again, they already did Annie Lily on like the 2nd anniversary, right? What else? Johto hasn't had too much. It's just like Yuzine and this Singsuit Silver, right? And that's kind of it. And then, you know, also we've been getting that like the Johto Master Fair trio rerun as well, leading up to it. Although I count that more as just bait right before the anniversary more than anything. Very good bait though, so yeah. I guess Hoenn hasn't been getting too much, right? It's just like these 2 special costumes. Oh, I guess there's also Lyra for Johto, like the special costume stuff. And then what, the 2 summer units? That's also not like nothing, right? Kalos has been getting a decent amount, right? Like ever since last year, we've gotten the new champions for Kalos. We've gotten, you know, the recent 2 spotlights. Obviously, the Kalos villain arc, right? So I don't feel like Kalos is very high up that list either. And I don't think there's too much Unova stuff, right? Ever since. And that's usually that one suspect region that is just spamming constantly units, right? Like, they got, obviously, the Unova villain arc, but, you know, it's been a while. It's been a while. So, like, after Colorus, like, off the top of my mind, I don't even remember any Unova characters ever since, right? Okay, Palatine's Elisa. Like, that's just one. It's been a while, right? So I guess Unova could be another one. which is why I do say there is some merit to like saying, oh, it could be Getsus, right? If you also want to tie in with the villain arc, I guess that is plausible, right? But I just don't think like the Getsus thing was like a huge, you know, oh, I'm a big villain arc character moment. But in terms of, you know, all that, I guess Unova, right? But outside of Getsus, if we're not going for like a villain arc tie-in, I guess Charon could be also a big one, right? Because Charon is also, you know, he's like the big mentor guy, right? For Apollo, I feel like he's the main one, even more so than Blue. So I feel like Charon could definitely be a pretty big one over there. But outside of that, I don't really feel like any other Unova, you know, characters. Obviously, N's like the most popular one, but like really, like another Annie N, right? Like just same thing with Annie Lily, right? Like we already got an anniversary version of them. Again, doesn't mean like we can't get another one in the future, but I just don't see it like as super likely. But on the other hand, it's been a hot minute since the last N, right? It has been a hot minute since the last N. Kind of like, you know, it's been a while since the last Leon, and boom, we got a new Leon, right? So could it be N? Yeah, just because it's like N and people like him a lot, so it could be possible. Outside of that, I don't think it's gonna be Hilda. Don't think it's gonna be another Rosa. Don't think it's gonna be another Hilbert. Nate, which is very unfortunate, and I feel bad for him, but like, let's be real. Let's just be real for a second here. It's not gonna be Nate. Colorist did leave at the end to work on something, so could there be a possibility we get something with Colorist? Maybe, but on the other hand, is Colorist that big of a character? Like, his debut was a Spotlight banner. He was not even a Pokefair. I thought he was going to be a Pokefair. He was not even a Pokefair. Dude was a Spotlight banner, right? Same thing with Hugh. So, I don't know, right? I guess the other one would be Iris. It's just like, Unova just has way too many characters with their two, you know, different games. Huge cast, right? So, I feel like those are probably possibilities. Which other region did I mention? It's like, what, Hoenn? Was it Hoenn that didn't have too much either, right? Yeah, I mean, Hoenn has been lacking, right, for a while. But can you really say, like, oh, there's one big Hoenn character that's gonna be, like, anniversary, right? I don't know. I don't really feel like it. Again, Steven, he's the big Hoenn guy, but it's same thing with Ann and Lily. We've gotten Annie Ann, we've got Annie Lily, we got Annie Steven. Although we'd love to see an Annie Steven redemption though for this poor unit. But yeah, other than that, could they debut like a Champion Wallace? I would love that personally, but I don't really think so. They could probably just do like probably just save that for like its own Champion Wallace sort of event, right? I think he's probably worthy of that. Maybe. I guess Zinnia's like the other big one, but Zinnia did also get another one over here, so yeah, like Hoenn is lacking a bit, hasn't been getting too much love, but on the other hand, is there really any like big Hoenn character that could really go up there for like the anniversary that's not named Steven? I'm not really sure, right? I don't really think so. And I guess the other one is just Johto that hasn't been getting too much. Again, who could really go up there for Johto? Right, it's we just got a silver, right? It's not gonna be silver. It's gonna be like another Ethan. He's like really the only one, right? Like, Ethan's kind of the only one. Of all these, I know Morty's super popular, but like Morty for anniversary is kind of ludicrous. But yeah, so like Johto and Hoenn have been lacking a bit, but they just don't really have anyone, I feel, to really put up there. Sinnoh, oh no, Sinnoh has definitely been lacking as well. Outside of like these, unless you just count these two as Sinnoh, which I guess you do because their theme skill is literally Sinnoh. But yeah, I mean, if it's gonna be anyone Sinnoh, I don't think Darkrai's gonna. Dude, of all the villain leaders at the end there, he seems the most uninterested in like the whole Paulo shenanigans. And yeah, I don't think, again, outside of Cynthia, which we literally got as an anniversary unit last year, yeah, like if we're talking about Sinnoh, I feel like the other theories with like even Palmer being an actual anniversary unit is more likely than anyone else from Sinnoh really going up there, right? Either, you know, either Palmer or some Legends Arceus character like a Volo or something. So I feel like that's kind of, yeah. Again, Kalo's probably not. Just, they've gotten too much. Alola, yeah. Alola got the Hau stuff, right? And as for the rest, I guess it's been a while since like a Luzmine, right? Because she's a pretty big character as well. You could somehow tie that into the villain arc if you want. Again, I already said enough about Lily. I don't think it's very likely. And like the other one is like Gladion, who hasn't, you know, I mean, he's part of the family. And we've gotten a second Luzmine, we've gotten a fifth Lily, I don't even know, a lot at least. We haven't gotten a second Gladion yet, so maybe Gladion, right? But yeah, I'm not super sure though, right? Because again, they did still have a villain arc, which is not nothing, but I also do feel like they haven't been getting too much outside of that. But if we're saying, okay, well, you know, every single anniversary has had a champion so far, what, you know, it's pattern wise, right? We should have a champion here, right? If we're going with that, let's see, which was the last champion to not really get anything in a while? Obviously Leon literally was just here, not counting Neo champions, obviously. Steven had one, right? Well, that's the other one, but you know, the detective one. Cynthia was last anniversary, and yeah, that's why I feel like Blue does make a lot of sense, right? Blue definitely does make a lot of sense. Again, fills that Kanto hole, fills the villain arc part, fills the he's blue and he hasn't gotten stuff in a while part. He's a champion, right? Fills the champion quota there as well. Diantha, we've gotten one as well this year. So you could tell me Lance has gotten one, but like again, let's be real, I don't like, it's a variety scout. Not that it's bad unit, it's actually a pretty underrated unit, I think. But no, he doesn't count. So I feel like Lance, yeah, Lance has not gotten a single alt, like a real like you know, alt outfit ever since the New Year's Lance, right? And it's just been a very long time. So I do feel like Lance could be a big, he could definitely be a big one. He also fills the Kanto quota as well, right? So yeah, Steven, I don't think. Steven, Leon, Diantha, Cynthia maybe. It's just very unlike, just because we literally just had her last year, right? But I feel like those four are probably the ones that are almost definitely not going to have going to appear. I know Alder, the Alder situation, I'm very sympathetic. I feel incredibly bad for Alder, but let's be real, people don't like him, unfortunately. I love him. I really love Alder. Most people don't. And I don't. Dude, straight up, some people don't even recognize him as a champion of Unova, which is ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. But yeah, anyways. Could it be Iris? Maybe. I guess Iris is not like impossible. Although she, you know, the last one was right after the anniversary last year. It's not like it's been super far away, but you know, it could be. Who knows? Anyways, so yeah, that's it for this one, I guess. I've been rambling on for a bit too long already, but yeah, that's all I got, folks. A lot of possibilities, a lot of possibilities, just because of all those factors, right? Because of that leak, if you want to call it, I don't even know. I mean, it's official stuff, so is it really called a leak? Just that like no one was there to really confirm it. Yeah, so you got that stuff with the Palmer thing, right? You got all this stuff with the villain arc ending, which I feel like is probably holds the most weight for me, right? I feel like the villain arc, of all the things, I feel like the villain arc is most likely, right? And then there's also the fact that, you know, the void you have to fill with the quotas every year, right? Just haven't been Kanto stuff in a while, the champion every year, all that stuff. So Anyways, yeah, that'll be this one, I guess. Hope you all guys think in the comments down below. Let me know what guys think is going to be going on for the anniversary, all that stuff. And we'll see very, very soon. We're literally we're a week away from the official drop of the units, so I'm expecting the announcement to be soon. Actually, if you do follow the Poem Masters Twitter, right, they've been doing these arts of each villain arc dropping every single day, and I think they're on Alola right now. Tonight they're probably gonna drop Galar, right, and then if I were to guess, the day after that we'd probably get something, right? We'd probably get something, or 2 days after that. So we're getting there. We're getting there, folks. Anyways, yeah, have fun. I'll see you guys in the next one.